Thanks, Matt, for the introduction. Well, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about the next big wave that will have a massive impact on the way we do business, on the way we communicate, and on the way we live. Well, if we really understand the future, we also have to understand our past, where we came from. So, not that long ago, human beings lived in a world that changed very slowly. Small local changes took many generations to take effect. The world we lived in was not bigger than the eye could see, not bigger than our feet can bring us. And that was okay. We could quite good anticipate the next big change. But today we live in a completely different world. We live in a world that is highly connected with smart technology. And if something happens on one side of the world, we will know it on the other side within minutes or seconds. And today global changes take only years, months, and sometimes weeks. And it's going faster and faster and faster. Many new technologies are coming our way. Think of artificial intelligence, robotics, and all these new kinds of technologies, blockchain, the Internet of Things. And it's going faster and faster. And if you would ask me as a futurist how the next 5 to 10 years will look like, then we'll paint a picture like this. I truly believe that the next big wave is coming. A wave that is massive. A wave of digitization, automation, that will have a massive impact on everything that we do. And for many people, this wave is quite scaring. They feel stressed. So imagine you're in a ship in front of this wave, and you look out of your porthole, and you see this wave of digitization, automating coming at you. Then you experience stress. And it doesn't matter if you're the captain of the ship, the sailor, or the owner of the ship. Everyone experiences the same kind of stress. But it's all a matter of perspective. Because if you look at this wave from a different perspective, then you don't see a threat, but you see a massive opportunity. And if you look from a surfer mindset, then you see this wave as a way to make exponential speed. And this is exactly what many organizations today are doing. They're growing from millions to tens of millions, of hundreds of millions of customers within a couple of years. And they use this wave, they embrace this wave of digitization to grow exponentially fast. So in the last 5 to 10 years, I did a lot of research into disruption, into digitization. And I thought it was all about technology. But during my research, I discovered that it's all about managing complexity and empowering individuals, empowering people. Today, with the iPad, for example, young children, people with disabilities or elderly people can communicate with the internet. They do banking business. They can transfer money to relatives. So it becomes easier. Complexity is easy to manage today. So what you see is that technology is all about creating new user interfaces. And these new user interfaces enable people, empower people to do things that are quite extraordinary. And as Steve Jobs said it quite nicely when he introduced the iPhone, technology only enables people, ordinary people, to do extraordinary things. And I think that is where technology is all about. What I also discovered is that technology is also moving very rapidly from one industry to the other. It starts somewhere in the Netherlands or in China or in Silicon Valley, for example, and then it moves very rapidly to different industries. What you also see is that it's happening in many, many industries. For example, the automotive industry. Many big car companies are manufacturing automotive cars, autonomous cars that can drive by themselves. And if you put a human being behind the steering wheel, it makes an accident 1 in 100,000 kilometers. But if you put a robot or an AI behind the steering wheel, it only makes an accident 1 in 10 million kilometers. So perhaps we will see a reduction in car damages of 99%. So if you are in the body shop industry or in the car insurance industry, this kind of developments in Silicon Valley and in China, for example, will have an indirect impact on your business. So we will see that every industry is disrupted, sooner or later. So you can start to ask yourself, okay, if this is moving so fast and affects so many industries, can we still predict where things are going? Can we still predict the next big wave of change? And how can we embrace that next big wave? Well, 10 years ago, I made a discovery. And discovery is so profound that it totally changed the way I see technology and the way I see our future of humanity and organizations. And I like to share this due to a personal story. About 10 years ago, my daughter was born. And she was born with a very rare genetic disorder. The doctors couldn't help her, and she got a terminal diagnosis. And then I started to search to look for a cure to save my daughter's life. And during that search, I discovered something remarkable. If you look at our body from a more holistic view, then you see a community, a society of trillions of cells that work together in harmony. And these cells have been here for 1 billion years, and they've already solved all the problems that we still have to encounter as a human race. When I start to dive into these cells, I discovered that cells have many things in common with human beings. So cells have basically two states, two extreme states where they can be in. On one side, they can be in a stress state. And in a stress state, they reduce their communication with the environment. And as a result, all kind of processes start to go wrong, the beginning of a chronic disease. But on the other side, when a cell is in a relaxed mode, it starts to exchange more information with its neighbors. It starts to become more creative, more innovative, and it can self-heal itself as a body. So we call this the self-healing ability of our body. We use this insight to save our daughter's life. She's today 10 years old and she's doing really, really great. But it also gave me some different insights. Insights how technology will evolve, and how humanity will evolve. Because these cells are here already for 500 million years. And they solved all the things that we already need to solve. So if you look at cells, for example, they are social, just like human beings. They multiply, they communicate, and they start to grow communities, small companies, small organizations, or small villages. And as the communities grow, they encounter all kinds of practical problems. And they have to solve these problems in order to go to the next stage of growth. And what I discovered is that the problems that living cells encounter are basically the same as the problems that we encounter as human beings. Let me explain. So what I did is I started to look back in history, about 1 billion years back. And then we saw the first single-celled organisms. And these single-celled organisms evolved towards human beings, as where we are today. And they evolved through 7 big disruptive waves. And in these waves, cells start to develop new biological systems and organs and tissues to create new kinds of organisms that were more adaptable to the environment. And the first wave is all about interaction. Cells start to interact, start to create larger communities. The second wave is all about infrastructure. So vascular systems, digestive systems, they start to develop to have a more efficient digestive system in the overall working. And then they move to the third wave, which is about information. So they start to develop a nervous system and senses to become more aware of the environment and to become more effective. And then in the fourth wave, they start to develop the instinct or the reptile brain, which automated all the internal processes within the organism. And the fifth wave was all about the limbic brain, or the social brain, the mammal brain, that helped us to learn from other people and to copy behavior from other people. And the sixth wave was all about the neural cortex. And this is basically the AI in the cloud of the human body. And finally, the last biological upgrade in the seventh wave was all the prefrontal cortex. And this prefrontal cortex helped us to imagine things, or think of things like conceptual things like money, or the state, or religion. And it helped us to develop language. And what I basically discovered is that these waves are repeating themselves today. But now we are not talking about cells using biology to build organisms. Now we are talking about Homo sapiens, human beings that use technology to build organizations. But we encounter the same problems and come up with the same kind of solutions as the cells did. So we can learn a lot from these cells. So the first big technological wave was all about interaction. We start to develop language. We start to communicate on a bigger scale. We start to create communities, cities, villages that grow over time. At a certain level, these cities became bigger, and we needed the next wave, which was all about the infrastructure. So this is the Industrial Revolution, where we start to develop the digestive system and the vascular system of our society, the oil pipelines, the railroads, and the energy grid. The third wave was all about telecom. It's basically the nervous system of our society. So the telephone, the radio, television, and eventually the internet. And the fourth wave is all about automation. So in the 1950s, we start to develop the computers, operating systems, and microchips that help us to automate all the internal processes within organisms and organizations. And about 20 years ago, we entered the sixth wave, or the fifth wave, I'm sorry. And this wave is all about the social wave, social media, the internet. And this is basically the social brain of our society. We started to share information with each other on a massive scale. We started to create bigger online communities. And now we are entering the sixth wave. And the sixth wave is like the neocortex. It's like AI in the cloud, but then for humanity. And finally, we will enter the seventh wave, which is all about holographic technology. It's like the imagination that we have in our prefrontal cortex. And what you can see in this wave is that each wave is getting shorter, but the impact is getting higher. So the first wave only took 12,000 years. And the fifth wave, the social media wave, the internet wave, only took 20 years. And in those 20 years, it changed everything. And the next wave is only 10 years. And it will have double the impact of the internet. So massive change is ahead, a massive wave of change. So what I discovered is that each wave corresponds with one of the layers in the Maslow pyramid, which corresponds with the human need. And basically what technology is doing is automating a human need so that we can focus on the next need on top of that. And technology is pushing us to the top of this Maslow pyramid, where it's all about self-actualization, following your purpose and finding your passion. And today what we see is that these waves are getting faster and faster. So we see a stack of ecosystems, an ever-growing stack of ecosystems with, for example, products as a service, infrastructures as a service, information as a service, software as a service, and today we have platforms as a service. And now we move to the sixth wave where we have intelligence as a service, AI, all you can get. And finally, we will have almost everything as a service available to you when you want it. So how do we anticipate the next big wave? Well, each wave goes through multiple stages, 7 stages. And if you look specifically at this digitization wave, we can distinguish 7 different stages. The first stage is that some kind of information is digitized. So in 1975, this guy, Steven Sesson, walked in the board of the Kodak company, and he presented the first digital camera. And he thought he would get an upgrade of his job, and perhaps a company car. But the company didn't understand his invention. He invented the first digital camera with 0.0 megapixels, black and white pictures. And he was sent out of the room again, and they told him that he should find something else, invent something else, because Kodak didn't believe in digital photography. Well, then we move into the next stage of digitization. And now we are entering the deceptive phase. So we see doublings of technology happening every year. So the number of megapixels are increasing every year. So in the beginning, we had small cameras, gimmick, gadget-like style cameras. But after 10 doublings, after 10 years, we had cameras with 20 megapixels. And that's when the entire photo industry was disrupted. And even the professionals were there switching towards digital photography. So, and this is the stage where many industries are in right now. They are completely digitized and they are being disrupted. Then we move to the fourth stage. And this is the stage where we see dematerialization of physical products. So in the early days, we have all kinds of products, a flashlight, a camera, a diary. And now they are all apps on your smartphone, fully digitized. And they are upgraded every week or every month. And then we move to the fifth stage. And the fifth stage is all about democratization of technology. So it becomes so cheap and so abundant that everyone starts to use it. And then we move to the sixth stage of digitization. And that is the democratization of technology. Everyone starts to use it and it becomes the new normal. So what we see on the top picture is that people were watching the inauguration of the Pope. And on the bottom picture, we see the same event, but 8 years later. So try to find the difference. And finally, we move to the seventh stage. And this is a stage where technology disappears. And this stage will have a massive impact because we don't see technology as technology anymore. It's become a part of our everyday life. So, and this is where many industries are currently going to. For example, yesterday, El Salvador announced that they use cryptocurrencies as a legal tender. So we see that, for example, cryptocurrencies are already being democratized. They become a common good. So it's moving really, really fast. And a good question is to ask yourself is, where am I in these 7 stages? And how many time do we still have to change until we are being disrupted by a different kind of company? So what will the wave 6 and wave 7, what will it impact our e-commerce systems? Well, technology, each wave of technology is basically an S-curve. So in the first part of the curve, we overestimate technology. We have high expectations. But technology is underperforming. It's not delivering on our needs. But in the second part of the curve, we see that we underestimate technology. And that's where we are entering right now. Artificial intelligence and holographic technology will be so powerful that they will be hugely underestimated. So what we see right now is that the internet is flat. It's a flat screen on our smartphone. Or it's a flat screen on our computer, our desktop, or our tablet. It's not immersive, and it's not quite engaging. Still, we are spending hours per day on our devices. But I think that will be a massive shift when we move to the next stage. And the next stage is the spatial web. So artificial intelligence and holographic technology together is a complete game changer for the way we communicate with each other, how we do business, how we sell products, how we buy products. All these things become completely different if we are entering the spatial web. And the spatial web is a 3-dimensional web, which is all around us. It's not a flat screen on our smartphone anymore. We are immersed in it, fully immersed. So what we see is that they predict that in the next 5 years, the holographic industry will grow to a $19 billion industry. So the smartphone, 5 years from now, will be some kind of glasses. And we see these glasses evolve very rapidly. So this company, for example, has already extended reality glasses that you can put on your head with an eye resolution, human eye resolution. So you can almost not distinguish reality and the images that you see in these glasses. And of course, these glasses will become smaller and more fashionable and cheaper. And I believe that in 5 years from now, this will be the new interface that we interact with the digital world and with each other. This will be the device that we use to buy new products. And it will be a completely different experience than we have today in web shops. So let me give you a couple of examples. Augmented reality in combination with artificial intelligence can be used in applications like this. So you can try a couple of shoes which are completely virtual. You can change the colors of the shoes, you can change the design of the shoe, and then you can scan your foot and see how big your foot is, and then they can be 3D printed in a location near you. So buying stuff will be completely different on the internet than we do today. And this is only a sneak preview of what is coming at us. What we also see is that it's very easy to create a shopping mall inside of your home. So by using augmented reality in your smartphone or tablet, or in the future in a glass, you can have a shopping outlet in your living room. And it will look like you're in a real shop. So buying products will start to feel more natural. So I believe that the line between the virtual world and the real world will start to disappear. And that will happen in the next 5 years already. When technology becomes more powerful, the images become more authentic, more real. And we start to have the feeling that we are completely immersed in the experience. Today we have smartphones, like the Apple smartphone, that are already equipped with LiDAR sensors. So you can use that phone to 3D scan objects, for example. And yesterday they launched a new application, object capture, that enables individual people, creative people all over the world to scan products in 3D and sell them on the web. And this technology is so advanced that you don't need to have any 3D modeling skills to create, for example, highly advanced 3D models of products that you want to sell. So, and you can also fit those products in your living room or in your bedroom and see how they fit into the environment. And this technology looks a little bit futuristic, but it's now around the corner. The technology supports it, we have the processing power, but now we are waiting for the apps to enable this. So every retailer, every shopping outlet can create a 3D object from a model that they have, a product that they have, and they can start to sell it. And people can arrange these furnitures in their environment and see if it fits and decide to buy that product. We also see that interacting with people will completely change. This is a demonstration of Facebook. And what they have is a mask with a camera implemented in it. And this mask is recording all your expressions, your emotions. And in this way, you can have a conversation with people. And you will have the feeling that they will stand next to you. So going to a shop or a virtual shop will feel very real in the near future. So the shop assistant will stand next to you and will help you to make the right choices and to buy the right products, the right fashion products or the right electronic products. And they will stand next to you and it will feel completely real. And this technology is already at a level where it's very hard to distinguish between the real thing and the virtual thing, as you can see in this video. And this technology is provided by Facebook. What we also see is that you can create a virtual avatar of you that can communicate in the virtual world, that can do business in the virtual world, and that can do transactions, of course. And it all looks very realistic already. Imagine what it could be in 5 years from now. We also see that the interaction with the virtual world also becomes more natural. So these scanners can scan your fingers and they make a replication, a 3D replication of your hand in the virtual world, where you can grab stuff and you can manipulate stuff. And it all starts to feel very natural. So technology starts to disappear. We start to enter the 7th phase of this big wave. We also see that we can create our own virtual assistants. Our shopping assistant, for example. A virtual assistant that will help you as a private banker to make transactions or to advise you on your investments, for example. And Epic Games just released a toolkit, Meta Human Creator, where everyone can use it and you can create a full photorealistic 3D person that can help you in all kinds of processes, business processes online. So again, in the near future, shopping will be a completely different experience. And a couple of years after that, we will move to a completely different world, where AI, for example, like this application, will help you to design the product that you need. So you don't buy standard products anymore, but you will buy products that were designed by yourself. So in this application, you tell the computer what to design, and it instantly designs a product for you. For example, you want to have a lamp in the shape of an avocado. Then it comes up with thousands or tens of thousands of versions. And as a result, you can print that in 3D because the entire model is already generated. So shopping will be more a creative experience in the near future. And it's already happening today. But 5 years from now, this will be completely normal for people. So perhaps you ask yourself, okay, what will be the impact on human beings if all these technologies evolve at this speed? Well, a lot of our jobs are based on hard skills. So our entire economy, 80% of our economy is based on hard skills. Well, a lot of research shows that these hard skills will be automated very soon. It's not a matter of when, but of how, but when. So the World Economic Forum, for example, predicted that in the next few years, millions of jobs will be radically changing or will disappear. So what we see is that these robots and AI that are coming in the 6th and the 7th wave are very good at hard skills. So everything that can be digitized will be cheap and abundant. And robots can digitize more and more processes around us. And when they digitize something, they enter the first stage. And then it's going faster and faster to the 7th stage. And everything that can be digitized will become cheap and a commodity and abundant. And that is a bit of a problem. Because if that is your job, if that is your product that you're selling, and computers can do that much more efficient, much cheaper, then you're out of business. So what I believe is that the future is more human. So everything that cannot be digitized or everything that cannot be automated will increase in value. And then I'm talking about human soft skills, purpose, empathy, curiosity, compassion, integrity, flexibility, and emotions. So I wrote a book about this subject. So if you like to read this book, you can download it for free. You only have to check in or scan this QR code on my website or on this screen, and then you get the slides and also the ebook for free. So thank you for your attention, and I hope that you enjoyed my short presentation. Thank you.